So, 2 days ago, I and three other people went to a district in Hong Kong called Tsuen Wan or Tsuen Wan. And this place is a place that I haven't been to in a very, very, very long time because it's like, how far is that place from my home? You know, Hong Kong is actually a way bigger city than I expected, and Tsuen Wan is a place that I don't go very often. So to be able to go to this place with three other people and hang out is something that I never expected to happen, but it happened 2 days ago, and it's friggin' insane. Well, insane isn't the right word, but it's awesome. You get me, okay? You get me. So the context is basically one day my friend, not my closest friend, but still a friend of mine, Zara, she invited me to hang out with some other people, including Miriam, who I have personally known when I was in Form 3, but 3A is the only class and the only year we were in the same class. And then we have another person who I will refer to as the Lion because he calls himself Lion, 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 and he is someone that I don't know. And 2 days ago is the first time I saw him, and he is a close friend of Zara's, and Miriam also knows him, I think. So four of us, I didn't even know what's going on. I don't hang out with people often. This is the 17th time I've hung out with someone in the outside world ever since May 11th of 2020, which is the day when everything ended. So anyways, Tsuen Wan. What a bizarre place. And I've been thinking maybe I should just do like a special thoughts update video on it, but no, that is not good enough. That is not good enough. I want to sit down and I want to talk about this place and my experience at this place and make it sort of a travel vlog slash just simple life vlog thing, but with a travel element to it. Apparently Miriam won't be going this early. I didn't know. Wow, it's been a long time since I've been here. I can't see anyone. I don't know why. So, first of all, I arrived at the MTR station of Tsuen Wan, which is really far away, at around 11:30 or 11:40 a.m. in the morning. And going to that station from my MTR station, from the MTR station that's closest to my position right now, which is home, took me 45 minutes or more. But I arrived there and I was like, where the hell am I? I don't know where the hell I am. It's so weird. It's confusing. It's just an MTR station. So I waited at the exit. They told me to wait at exit D. And then finally Zara and the Lion showed up. And Zara immediately recognized me, which is a little bit upsetting. I hope that she would not recognize me. But no, she recognized me, of course. Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't anyone? Yeah, and that begins our first part of our six-parted journey of the day. First thing we did was we went out of the MTR station, crossed the street, and looked at some cool street art. And then afterwards, we went on to a minibus, and we took that minibus all the way up to the mountains to visit a village called the Kwong Chun, or the Kwong village. And this village is all the way up the mountains, and it's a little weird. It's not somewhere that people would usually live. It's rather old school, old styled, and so much so that it had become a bit of a hot spot for Instagrammers all around Hong Kong to take photos and such. And I was wearing a huge jacket, this one, while I was there. I totally did not expect that we have to hike on this mountain, but we eventually did. Me, Zara, the lion, and the lion's other friend, whom neither me and Zara had met before, this small girl. Four of us, we walked around the village. At first, we didn't know where exactly the place was because the village is actually separated into two parts. On the same mountain, we went to the first part, but actually, that is the wrong part, even though it already looks pretty interesting with the metal sheet houses, which are really, I don't want to say poor, but people there obviously are financially struggling, and I feel bad for them. But this way, this style of living, the metal sheet houses, it's almost a very Hong Kong characteristic that is a part of the Hong Kong culture, really. But anyways, we walked upwards towards the top of the mountain to find the second part of the village, which is where the actual thing is, where we have the colorfully painted staircases, weird drawings and artwork all across the walls that are very sunny, bright, colorful, and very childish and cartoonish, and it had become a bit of a wonderland. There's even a huge rock beside a door where someone painted a small house in that rock, right beside the doorway to their house. And it is a pretty interesting place. We walked to the very top to find nothing but grass at the very end, but it is still one really memorable place.
送個鐘啊！嚇？我後悔點解行上去？嗰度有搭車。你之前有冇嚟過啊？之前係咪好多人嚟呢度打卡？跟住之後係好難，好算唔算多啊？應該好多，因為好多。但係咁嗰啲。其實有啲人都咁講嘅，聽咗之後我覺得好開心。唔係，你俾我，你覺得我唔係我記得咗，你幫我而家張。伊樂啊嘛。我覺得頭少少影埋你咪風景嘛。其實應該呢度影住。
And after hiking up and down and hearing dogs barking, we eventually spent almost an entire hour just taking photos. Even I myself have become a victim of the photo taking addiction. So me, Zara, the lion, we all took a bunch of photos and 99% of them turned out to be quite crap, but still it was a fun experience and I enjoyed that place overall. Afterwards, now we move over to part 2 of our journey where we have Miriam. So fucking tired and thirsty. I didn't know we were going to hike. So instead of going back down the mountain with a minibus, we decided to walk all the way back down, and at that point my legs are already nearly broken given the fact that on that day I only slept for 6 hours and on the 4 previous days I only slept for 4 hours each. I was easily tired, my stamina is low, and I was dying of heat because it was surprisingly hot. Anyways, we walked down the mountain and we walked all the way back to the MTR station where I showed up in Tsuen Wan. And we went there because we have to meet another person, and that of course is Miriam. Miriam is someone I haven't seen for half a year and I haven't spoken to in at least 1.5 years, probably. And she has been one of the more relatively interesting person I've met at school. So it is quite fantastic that I'm able to speak to her, chat with her, and just hang out with her on a very special occasion. That is February 16th? 15th? 16th. Shoot. Anyways, we met up with Miriam at the MTR station. When we found her, she didn't see us, but me, Zara, and the lion saw her, and the other girl who's with the lion has left. So me, Zara, and the lion hid from her for a little while. But she eventually found out, but she didn't find me out because I was hiding at another spot, and then I showed up behind her, and then she's like, whoa, haha, hey. So anyways, we left the MTR place, and near the MTR place, in between two streets, there's a bit of a pedestrian section where there are these stores on both sides. For some reason, there are a myriad of Thai restaurants in that particular street. I have no idea why, but okay. But anyways, Zara and the lion decided to stop to buy themselves some tofufa, or tofu flour, which is a direct translation, but it's essentially a kind of dessert, basically a bowl tofu that is very cold, like pudding, and they put syrup or sugar on top, and you just eat it, and you put the bowl back into a huge plastic bin, and you just stand and eat. It's not a restaurant, it's a store. You buy it there, you eat it there, you throw the bowl into the bin, and you leave. And I didn't partake in it because I'm not a huge fan of tofu fa. Neither was Miriam, but I did go to a nearby 7-Eleven and bought myself a bottle of VLT lemon tea because god damn, I was thirsty as hell. I didn't bring water, and I didn't know I had to hike, for God's sakes. And then afterwards we walked all the way to the mill. Which is a place near the more outer parts of Tsuen Wan where things get a little bit more industrial. And the mill was originally a fabric factory back in, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, but it has been renovated and gentrified into something way more touristy. It's like a huge mall with really fancy, modern, urban-looking staircases and guardrails and grounds, yet incorporating elements of raw, rough factory industrial style, like the broken concrete walls, the rusty iron bars and whatnot. And it is quite beautiful and quite fantastic as well. And of course, to be expected, everything is fucking expensive all over there, but it's fine. I brought my money, okay? I'm not that broke, right? So anyways, we walked around that place to look for a suitable place for lunch, and we eventually ended up in a restaurant where only 3 types of meals, or more like 3 meals, were available on the menu. I eventually decided to eat a bowl of soup noodles with pumpkin and half a boiled egg, some seaweed, and that costed me 88 Hong Kong dollars, which is relatively expensive. Actually quite expensive, because usually when you eat a bowl of noodles, it should cost you around 40 something dollars-ish, but in that place, it's basically twice the price. Anyways, after lunch, we decided to walk around that place, and I put on my detective coat again, like a detective, and we ended up in a balcony where a lot of people decided to sit around, just enjoy the breeze, enjoy the view, walk dogs, and we just sat there for a while, and it was quite fun. Again, that place, the mill, it is very gentrified, it is artsy, it is very slick and cool looking, and it is a pretty interesting place. And also, I and Miriam, we talked a lot there, where I mentioned Bernice, who is a person who has a bit of a history with me, and I'm not saying we had a relationship. I've never dated anyone, but we had gone through some some sad stuff, and we have argued in a very dramatic way, which spiraled out of control, which is something that I'm not sorry about, but something that's still written in the history book of me. We also managed to talk a little bit about Mary, and that was an interesting conversation in and of itself. Anyways, afterwards we enter the fourth part of our journey, and that is the seaside. At that point, when we had lunch, it was already about 3 p.m., which is definitely not lunchtime. So after lunch, it was already like 4, and we decided, you know what, let's go to the seaside and look at the sunset. So we walked all the way from the mill to the seaside, which took us about 15 minutes. We walked there along the park, and it was really calming, beautiful, and nice looking. Of course, we got the bridge from afar, which connects the island, which is called Tengyi, which is actually the place I grew up in when I was just a teeny tiny child, and the mainland part of Hong Kong, which is Kowloon/New Territories, the peninsula. So we walked along the park, and at some point we found a bit of a section of the park that is extended into the sea, made of concrete, where you can just sit there and fish or just look at the view. We left that place, and further ahead there is a fence blocking a stairway into a rocky beach where you can directly look at the sunset and be exactly beside the sea or the water.
考過嚟，你覺得我哋而家攬入去啦，定覺得但係嗰度會唔會好多人？ So
we decided to climb over the fence and walk on the rocky beach and sit there and just look. And a lot of people do that. Even a family of 3 did that, and they also helped us climb over the fence. So we did that. We looked at the sunset. We took a bunch of photos. It was okay. When the sun disappeared, the sky was still a little bit bright, which is a little confusing, but it was a nice view nonetheless. We left that place and we continued to walk. When we went there, we actually passed by another Instagram friendly spot that is called the Reddish Orange Bridge or tunnel, where the road is surrounded by archways of orange reddish, I don't even know what material that is, probably steel. I don't think it's wood. It's probably steel, like cheap steel, and it's like a frame. It's like a metal frame, and it sort of goes on for a while, and it looks pretty cool, I guess. And we were about to take a bus back to where we came from, except the bus didn't come for a while, and at some point Zara were like, you know what, let's just walk back to where we came from. And so we walked back to where we came from. Near the MTR station, we went to the D Park Mall, which is a mall that I've never been to, I think. It is pretty late at night already. We haven't had dinner, and it is a pretty regular mall. It wasn't anything all that special. There was, however, a huge field of artificial grass in the middle of the ground floor for some reason, and then there's another field of purple, pinkish thing, like a park thing in the middle. But a lot of the malls do that, so it wasn't like surprising to us or anything. We hung around there a little bit. We found this other section in the mall where they set up a bunch of small stalls and a bunch of lanterns in the ceiling just for the festive Chinese Lunar New Year vibes. And of course, there's the wall of neon signs, which is very nostalgic Hong Kong styled. And then afterwards, we just left that D mall and we went back to the street where we had where Zara and the lion had their Tofufa. And yeah, I didn't take too many videos at that point because I was already really tired and exhausted, and I'm sure everyone else were as well. But on our way there, we actually passed by this other mall, which is a very cheap, very claustrophobic, old school, old styled Hong Kong mall. The kind of malls that I would dream about being in when I was 7 or 8 years old, because I've been to quite a few of these malls and they had left a very strong impression on me for being this claustrophobic, for being this clustered and this dimly lit. It is yeah, I mean, just go see for yourself. It's a totally different vibe, a kind of vibe that I had never gotten outside of Hong Kong. Very old schooled. It is the kind of claustrophobic mall that is very tiny and very empty, yet very dense and packed. And there were these rigged gacha games, which I will never play because I know they are rigged as hell. But Miriam and Zara decided to try them, and of course, none of them actually got anything out of it. They wasted money, but I guess there's that. Afterwards, we went to the Tofufa Street. The lion had left, and it's just me, Zara, and Miriam. We talked for a while and we walked for a while looking for a place to eat, but we eventually didn't find anywhere where we can eat dinner, and so we decided to just leave and go back home. Aside from that, Zara bought herself this crepe with cheese and mushrooms thing, which is not that tasty according to her, and Miriam bought a plastic bottle of sort of a rice juice. Not really rice. It's a kind of rice, but it's not rice. It's yi mai, which is similar to rice, but rice juice. It's a drink. So afterwards, we went back to the MTR. We parted ways. I and Miriam waved goodbye, and Miriam decided to not go back to the MTR station nearest to the place she lives because halfway through the MTR journey, she just left and decided to take a tram instead, which is really weird. She asked me if I wanted to join. I said no because I'm friggin' exhausted. I'm nearly paralyzed at that point. So I took the MTR back home, and goodbye. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. 2 days ago, aka February 16th, was a really interesting day and definitely one of the best days, if not the best day of 2021 so far, in my opinion. I think the fact that we spent a good portion of the day just going around Tsuen Wan, a place that I've never really explored in my entire life, is fantastic. It's interesting, and being able to hang out with people is amazing as well. I think that it is a very memorable experience, and it is a little creepy that on the very next day Mary would go there. She went to the exact same reddish-orange bridge and the rocky beach to watch the sunset. I'm serious. I don't know what the hell is going on with her, but one thing I'm sure of is that it is totally a coincidence. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's great, it's fun, and it's a memorable experience. And yeah, comments below if you have been to Hong Kong. And thanks for watching.